all, it's me again, visiting you from the home office. I noticed that it was raining outside, and especially during this time where we're all sort of spending a lot of time stuck inside, I wanted to remind you that it's really fun to come outside and play on a rainy day. I love playing in the rain. Let me show you some of the ways. Taking the time to slow down and observe a puddle can be a really fun way to explore outside in the rain. Right now, I'm noticing how all of the drops of rain are making ripples on the surface of the puddle. I'm noticing that it's stirring up bubbles in the puddle. This is also a neat opportunity to look at what might be in the bottom of the puddle. Look, got some redwood leaves. Ooh, and that was so unexpected. I pulled on this redwood leaf and it ended up pulling up all of this beautiful decomposing matter here. So this is all old leaves and things like that. It must have been sitting here nice and wet for a while because it's turned into this lovely mat of good stuff, you know, that will rot and provide new nutrients to the plants that live here. Let's not also pretend like stamping in a puddle isn't a great way to have fun on a rainy day. We aren't learning about science when we jump in a puddle? Think again! This is a great way to learn about water displacement and force, and yes, also just have a really fun time. Check it out, guys. I found a perfect spot for one of my favorite rainy day activities. Alright, this might just look like any old ordinary brick on the ground, but it actually is a home for so many animals. There's so many animals out there that need a nice, safe, damp place to live. And on especially damp days, sometimes you can find them just by turning things over on the ground. You can do this with anything. You can do it with a log or a rock or a brick. Anything you find outside that you can pick up and move gently, you can see who's living under there. So let's check it out. Picking it up very gently so I don't squish anybody. Yeah! Jackpot. Check it out. What do you think it might be? We find this animal a lot when we're doing log looks with kids on site at Curiodyssey. And maybe like some of you, a lot of them have the first reaction that, oh boy, it's a snake. But if we take a closer look, hopefully the camera will collaborate with me. Hopefully you can see that this little guy has legs. When we have a chance to take a closer look, when we slow down and make some observations, we can tell that this is not a snake for two main reasons. One is the legs. That one I suppose is pretty obvious. The other is if we take a look at their skin. I bet a lot of you already know what snakes have covering their skins. They have scales. Scales help them to keep water out of their body, to keep water in their body, and to protect their skin. But this guy is not a reptile like a snake. This is an amphibian. Amphibians are animals like frogs and toads, and they don't have any hard scales protecting their skin. All they have is mucus. Their skin makes that mucus, makes them slimy, and it helps to protect their skin, helps to keep them from drying out. It actually even helps them breathe. Amphibians can do some of their gas exchange or breathing through their skin. Alright, do you have any guesses what it is? This, my friends, is a California slender-tailed salamander. We want to make sure that we leave him exactly as we found him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully return the brick back on top of him. I'm going to put it down really slowly to make sure that if he needs to adjust himself, he can do that. Alright friends, now it's your turn. What's under something in your backyard? No brick or rock or bark in your yard? No problem. You can actually make your own just by using a cardboard box. All you need to do is flatten it out. nice flat box, and then just choose a place on the ground to put it down. If you want, you can put a couple of rocks on the edges or whatever you have that's heavy to kind of weight it down. And even better, you can actually pour a little bit of water underneath the cardboard to make it nice and damp. A lot of the animals that live underneath things like this like it to be a little bit damp.
And now, we wait.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and check on our cardboard. Nutmeg is very interested, so that might be a good sign. Maybe some good smells hanging around there. Let's check it out. Yep, we've got a beetle. Oh, already gone, but that was pretty cool. I think we'll go ahead and set it right back up since we saw that it worked. And, you know, we'll check on it another day. Another great activity for a rainy day is to learn about soil by making a soil shake. They're really easy and you don't need anything special. All you need is any kind of clear container. I'm going to use my favorite glass jar. Those of you who hang around Curiodyssey have probably seen me walking around with these. They are my favorite universal tool. I use them for everything, from science experiments to, different jars for my food. I drink out of them like water bottles. It's a great way to reuse something. I love glass jars. Okay, so we've got our clear container, and then you need just anything that will help you get some dirt up. So if you have a gardening shovel, I'm going to use this weeding tool just because that's what I have lying around. But, if you really want to have a fun time, you can just use your hands to dig out some dirt. All right, let me show you how it works. So I walked around a little bit and I found a spot that looked good to dig. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a hole. I'm going to make sure that my hole goes down pretty far because I want to be able to get all of the different layers of dirt here. So let's get to digging. I'm going to open up my jar and I'm going to dig down as deep as I can. Woo, that's pretty cool. We can already see some really neat stuff in there. You can see these long white roots. That's pretty neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to kind of get a cross section, kind of try to get all of the different layers of dirt into my jar. We can already see some of the distinct layers. I see that on top I've got kind of this redwood debris, and as you go down, it looks like a lot of wood chips. I'm actually wondering if perhaps this is an area where somebody dumped, a tree that was chipped or something like that. All right, we've got our clear container of dirt. Check. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill the jar up with water. Let's see what happens. Go ahead and put the top on your container. And then, here's where the name becomes a little more obvious. Then you shake. The last step then is to put it somewhere where it can sit quietly for a while, and then we wait. Like a lot of science experiments, my soil shake took a pretty unexpected turn. Let me show you what I mean. Here's our soil shake. Can you see the layers? Yeah, me neither. Remember when I noticed that it looked like I was on a pile of wood chips? Yeah, should have listened to myself.
We didn't get any layers in this one because I was digging through just one big pile of wood chips. No layers in the soil equals no layers in my soil shake.
But it's no problem. I'm just gonna go collect another soil sample and we can see how it goes this time and compare it to my original one.
As you can see, I quickly resorted to using my hands for digging this time. I recommend it. Don't forget to fill your hole back in. Okay, you know the drill now. Fill it with water, close your top, and shake it really well. I couldn't resist leaving the sound on. It just sounds so weird when you speed up the video. We might have to explore that in a future video. Here's what my soil shake looks like after a few days. What do you notice? You can see here that we have some of those redwood needles floating at the top, and then there's actually some empty space in the middle. Down at the bottom, we just have some good old brown dirt. These layers are called a soil horizon. Soil isn't really just one thing, it's made up of all kinds of things. This experiment helps you to see what kind of unique soil layers you have in your backyard. One last great idea for sustainability on a rainy day is to just put out a container to collect some water.
Thanks for the idea on the water collection, Carmen. I've got some good water that I'll use to water my plants a little later. Speaking of rain collection, I'm gonna send it over to my friend educator Carmen to tell us more about how you can set up a rain collection barrel.
So one interesting thing about being home more often is that you start to notice all of the little things that are always going on when you're not here. And one of the things I noticed was just the sound of the water running down our rain gutters, and that reminded me that usually back at Curiodyssey we use a bucket to collect rainwater so that we can reuse it for plants and moistening soil and a few other things. So I was wondering if maybe that is where I could start part one of bringing Curiodyssey science home. Maybe I will set up a rainwater collection station. So it looks like we might be in luck for some showers to collect in the rain barrel. Hey Al, so I found my rain collection bucket, and this part of the porch isn't covered by the balconies above, so it looks like it would be a pretty good place to try to start collecting some water if it decides to rain today. We live pretty close to the ocean, so I'm a little nervous about it blowing over, but at least we have this edge so it shouldn't go too far, and hopefully it just gets filled up with enough water where it doesn't start tipping. Maybe after I collect some rainwater that I'll use a ruler or some sort of marker to see how it changes each day. So I'm just gonna go place this and check back in with you soon. Been a beautiful and sunny day, which has been great for some people, some plants, maybe some animals, but not so great for our rain bucket study that we were trying to put out this morning. To be really honest, the bucket is in fact even drier than when it started. All the condensation that was on the inside and the outside has now evaporated. So hi out there. So it's day 2 the next morning after setting up our rain barrel. There was that 20% chance of rain and didn't actually happen, but the sky looks pretty promising for maybe some rain collection today. So I thought we would just start out by seeing maybe what happened overnight and to see if we managed to collect any water in the bucket. All right, the green reveal coming up to our bucket, and so it looks like there is a little water in here. I'm not sure if I am convinced that that could be from rain that I missed, but since I live about a mile or so from the ocean, which is way yonder, up that hill and right over the ridge, I'm wondering if this is morning condensation, since I notice that the ground around me is all wet. Good morning, friends. I just wanted to give you a little update on the rain study because it's pretty funny. Right over here is our rain collection bucket, and it's been so sunny that what little amount I was able to gather has already evaporated. Yeah, it's completely empty. So maybe next time when it collects some water, I'll put that into a different container. Otherwise, I guess it'll go back into the water cycle, and that's fine too.
Okay, your turn. How do you explore outside in the rain? Thanks for playing in the rain with me, and stay tuned for more videos like this from Curiodyssey.